In the quiet town of Amityville, New York, a house stood at 112 Ocean Avenue. It was large, almost welcoming, with white walls, black shutters, and windows shaped like watchful eyes. Neighbors thought it looked peaceful, but behind those walls, horror had already taken root. On the cold night of November 13, 1974, a 23-year-old man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. walked through the house with a rifle. Methodically, he went room to room, shooting his parents and 4 siblings as they slept. By morning, 6 members of the DeFeo family were dead. Ronald later claimed strange voices in the house drove him to do it. For most people, that was enough to stay away. But just over a year later, another family moved in. The Lutz family, George, his wife Kathy, and her 3 children, thought they had found a dream home. The house was beautiful, and the price was suspiciously cheap. Realtors told them about the murders, but the Lutz family decided they could live with the past. What they didn't know was that the past was waiting for them. From the very first night, the house felt wrong. George, who had always been a calm, rational man, began to change. He grew irritable, snapping at his wife and children. Worse, he was constantly cold, no matter how many fires he lit. He would wake at exactly 3:15 a.m., the time Ronald DeFeo had killed his family, and wander the house in a trance-like state. Kathy began to dream of the murders. Night after night, she saw images of the DeFeo children lying dead in their beds. When she woke, her body was covered in mysterious welts and red marks. The children weren't spared either. The youngest daughter, Missy, claimed to have an imaginary friend named Jody, except Jody wasn't imaginary. Kathy once walked into Missy's room and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring from the window. George, rushing in, found hoofprints in the snow outside, shaped like those of a pig, even though no animal could have left them. As days turned into weeks, the house grew darker. Swarms of flies gathered in empty rooms, despite it being the dead of winter. Doors slammed on their own. Foul odors seeped from nowhere, making the family gag. A crucifix hung in the living room slowly turned upside down. George and Kathy tried to bless the house themselves with holy water, but instead of peace, they heard voices screaming at them to get out. Desperate, they called a priest, Father Ralph Pecoraro, to perform an official blessing. He arrived carrying holy water and prayers, but as soon as he stepped into one of the upstairs rooms, a deep guttural voice echoed through the air. Get out. The priest fled, shaken to his core, and later warned the Lutz family never to sleep in that room again, but the house didn't let them escape so easily. George claimed he would wake in the middle of the night to the sound of marching footsteps and clanging doors. Kathy once levitated off the bed, her body twisting in the air, while her children screamed. One night George woke to see Kathy's face transformed, aged, wrinkled, like an old hag staring back at him. The horror escalated until the Lutz family could take no more. After just 28 days, they fled in the middle of the night, leaving all their belongings behind. They never went back. When investigators entered the house afterward, they found no physical explanation for the hauntings. Yet the story spread quickly, turning the Amityville house into one of the most famous haunted locations in the world. Skeptics argued the Lutz family made everything up for money. Believers insisted no one could live in that house without being touched by its evil. Even today, people debate whether it was a hoax or a true haunting, but one thing remains undeniable. 6 people were brutally murdered inside 112 Ocean Avenue, and the echoes of that night never left. The house still stands, remodeled and renumbered to hide its identity, but the legend of Amityville lingers like a shadow. And if you ever pass by, you might notice the windows staring back at you, like eyes that have seen too much.